The Dovewood secret. It all started with a rumor. They say there's a new person in town and he's brought the devil with him. Now, in a place like Dovewood, where the air smells like pine and secrets, a rumor can travel faster than lightning and last longer than wildfire. We're a town of 604, nestled so quietly in a forest that you could drive by and never know we existed. That's how we like it. We have one diner, one church, a post office that closes by 2 p.m., and folks who've lived here long enough to know the shape of each other's shadows. My name is Eli Mercer. I live at the end of Hemlock Lane, in the old cabin that once belonged to my grandfather. I write stories, or at least I used to, before the words started running from me like frightened deer. Lately, all I do is sit on the porch with my notebooks, watching the trees breathe and listening to the town crumble. The first death was back in March. Old Charlie Mays was found face down in his chicken coop, body bloated, lips blackened like he drank poison. They said it was a heart attack, but Charlie didn't have a history. A week later, Mrs. Langston, my old high school teacher, drowned in her bathtub. The weird part? There was barely an inch of water in it. By May, we'd lost 7. All natural causes, said the sheriff. Nothing to worry about. But that wasn't all. The river turned green one morning, thick as soup and reeking of rot. The state conducted tests and found nothing. Then 2 weeks later, the tap water turned a brown color. We had to boil everything. That was around the time the rain stopped coming. We'd always had a gentle, reliable weather pattern. But now the sky cracked with lightning even on cloudless nights, and the wind came in bursts as if some great thing was exhaling just beyond the trees. Crops wilted. Dogs barked at nothing. The forest grew darker even at noon. I kept notes of it all. I wasn't trying to write anything at first, but a silence like that, the kind that crawls under your skin, needs somewhere to go. So I started jotting down what people said, what they didn't say, and what I saw. That's how I first heard about the man in the North Woods. It came from Lenora, the florist, one evening when I shopped for lavender. Her hands were shaking. She said she'd seen someone near the ravine, tall and pale, with a black coat too heavy for summer. He didn't speak, didn't blink, just watched her. "You don't think he's the one?" she asked. I didn't know how to answer. From there, the whispers grew louder. Some said the Wilkins boy had seen strange lights out there. Others said he'd only pretended to see them for attention, but the boy stopped speaking not long after. Then there was Ida, who told me about the newcomer staying in Emmett's old hunting lodge. "That place has been empty for years," I said. "Not anymore," she whispered. "Emmett's nephew, James, he let someone in. Some foreigner. Doesn't speak our language, keeps to himself, doesn't go into town." I went there. Of course, a writer's instincts run too deep. I didn't knock, just watched from the ridge, and she was right. There was someone. He never left during the day, but at night he'd wander outside, staring up at the sky like he was waiting for something or someone. I'd like to say I wasn't scared, but I was. See, when you live far from the world, your fears become simple. You worry about fires, bears, and someone breaking a leg on a trail no one walks. But this was different. It felt older than fear, like something ancient had found its way in and was curling up in the hollows of our homes. Still, I couldn't stop myself. I went back, again and again, watching him, taking notes. trying to piece together how one person could fracture a whole town. Then one night, I got closer. I walked the half-mile through the woods, heart thudding like a war drum. His window was lit with the soft glow of a lantern. I saw him sitting at a table, unmoving, as if carved from stone. And that's when he looked up, straight at me. I swear he couldn't have seen me. I was behind trees, hidden, still, but he stared into the dark where I stood, as if he sensed me, or maybe even heard my thoughts. And I felt exposed. I ran, not just back home, but deep into my mind, locking every door behind me. I didn't go out for 3 days, but the silence didn't stay away. It never does. It crept into my dreams. I began seeing things I couldn't explain, shapes in mirrors that didn't belong, voices in the trees whispering my name, shadows that stretched too long at dusk. Every sound in town felt loaded. Every glance from a neighbor was laced with suspicion. And all the while, people kept dying. The sheriff went missing. The church burned down. A deer was found walking in circles, its eyes white as milk. I tried to tell someone, Lenora, Ida, anyone, but they looked at me like I was unraveling. Maybe I was, but I knew what I'd seen. I knew something was wrong. So I did what I hadn't done in years. I wrote a story. Not fiction, not this time. I wrote the truth, or at least the truth as I saw it. I called it A Stranger in Dovewood. 10 pages of observations, of fears, of the sickness blooming in the soil of this town. I printed copies and slipped them into mailboxes, beneath diner plates, under pews. 2 days later, someone broke into my cabin. They didn't steal anything. They just tore the pages off the walls, ripped my notebooks apart, and left my door hanging open like a warning. Now I don't sleep. I sit by the window, pen in hand, listening to the wind and watching the forest, waiting, because I know he's still out there, and I think he knows I know. I don't believe he brought the devil with him. No. I think he is something worse, something patient, something that doesn't just destroy a town, but buries itself in it, like a seed, and waits. I am the last one watching, and I don't know if I'll be the last one left.